BattleBit is the most fun that I've had in a video game in a really long time, and it's actually the first time I've sat down to play a game for fun without even thinking about the need to record it or make content on it. But I have the debuff of being a boomer, and because of that, I'm not particularly good at the game. But this means that I have to find some creative ways to get an edge whenever I do play. So I wanted to take some time to share with you some tips that I have come across over the last many hours of enjoying the game. First up is helicopters plus rappel ropes. We all know that there's helicopters in the game, and that rappel ropes are a dope feature. What you may not have considered is that when your helicopter is full and you can't take any more passengers, you can deploy the rappel rope and then allow additional passengers to hang from the rope to get even more firepower to the objective. Next up, DPI on the fly. I'm specifically talking about drones, helicopters, and scopes. When you're flying helicopters, you'll notice that the Little Bird is extremely maneuverable, but the Black Hawk is a little bit more sluggish. Similarly, you'll notice that if you are in an optic like the Hunter, which has insane magnification, it takes quite a bit of mouse movement to get that thing dialed in. And something else you may have considered is that as you start adding weight to drones, they are harder to fly. My mouse has a manual DPI adjustment on it, and I recommend that you bind those DPI adjustments to the game so that you can quickly increase and decrease your sensitivity while flying helicopters manually. I find that if I give myself some extra DPI sensitivity when I'm flying helicopters that are a little bit more sluggish, I can control them significantly better. Putting bombs on drones isn't a new thing, and it is certainly a little bit toxic, but it's also a lot of fun. So I've got to recommend that if you have the sniper class, you've got the drone and the anti-personnel mine, that you and your buddies do at least one drone swarm. But just remember, as you start adding those anti-personnel mines to your drones, they will become more difficult to fly, and I definitely recommend increasing the sensitivity on your input whenever you do that so you can control them even better. Remember that while you're flying, you can also spot for your homies, and you can also have your buddies put anti-tank mines on your drone and turn it into a counter vehicle system. If you're playing in a squad and your squad leader isn't putting down spawn locations for the team, meaning that rally point or that beacon, just leave the squad, create your own, and be the guy that puts down the beacon. This is going to get you a lot closer to the objective and make the experience more enjoyable for everybody so you can get into the match quicker. It also means that you're going to have an advantage over the enemy. Many rounds that my friends and I have enjoyed have been won simply because we managed to get a spawn beacon closer to the enemy objective in a place that is difficult to discover, and then that single action can turn the tide of the entire fight. The extremely magnified optics on sniper rifles are a hell of a lot of fun to use, but they also make you a huge target because they produce massive sniper glint. Choose one of the mid-range optics instead. You'll get much more responsive gunplay in the scope, and you'll also be able to hide that glint entirely. The next tip in line with the sniper is that if you are having trouble engaging with the mid-range optic at extreme ranges, equip the rangefinder and then dial your holdover so you can engage at range. Regardless of whether or not you choose to use a mid-range optic or a heavily magnified optic, make sure you have that rangefinder equipped to your sniper. It is a game changer and will allow you to make insane shots at extreme range. Also in the category of rangefinders, consider adding a rangefinder to your weapon on the engineer class whenever you're carrying an RPG with a PG-07 optic. This will allow you to immediately dial your holdover and then transition to that magnified optic on your RPG to make insane long-range shots with that shoulder-fired weapon. This thing is just as potent as a sniper at long range, and it has the bonus of being able to knock down vehicles and knock down walls. And if you're having trouble figuring out how to use that RPG reticle, well, just look at this picture and also reference the image that is available in the character customization screen so that you can get a better understanding of how to use the PG-07. Remember that it is different with the heat round versus the tandem round. That tandem round really does fall quickly, so your holdover is much more dramatic. This one's silly and stupid, but it needs to be said. Just spot enemies whenever you see them, guys. Your teammates will appreciate it. If you have a spot that is of particular value, make sure you reference it for your teammates. If you're flying a drone, make sure you spot for your teammates. I've rebound my spot to my middle mouse button so I can do it on the fly, and I oftentimes find myself spotting a same enemy 2 to 3 times while he's moving so that my teammate can see that breadcrumb trail of that guy's movement and they can plan their assault better. Don't forget to spot after you die, so while you're bleeding out, you can still spot the enemy that killed you, give them an idea of where that threat came from. If you're a medic, or anyone really, and your buddies are down, make sure to drag to cover before you actually go to revive. And remember that you can revive while dragging. You can even rebind your key so that your drag button is also your revive button, and you'll automatically revive while dragging to cover. The night maps in BattleBit are a lot of fun, but it changes the way the game plays significantly. Obviously, you have night vision devices, but if you have nods equipped, you're unable to look down magnified optics with any sort of clarity. You have to raise those nods, and then all you see is blackness through that scope unless you're looking at a well-lit area. For this reason, I encourage those of you who are using magnified optics on night maps to also use canted sights with a red dot so that you can still have the option of running nods in close quarters if you need to. Remember also that PG-07 that you have on your RPG is going to be equally useless on night maps, so make sure you put a heat round with irons on your RPG. Flares, tack lights, all that stuff is extremely helpful, and don't forget you can throw a laser on your gun and then use point shooting to avoid having to aim down sights altogether. This is definitely the most tactical way to enjoy night maps, but it's also going to give away your position if you fail to toggle off that laser. So when using a laser on a night map, make sure you've bound that laser to a thumb button on your mouse so you can quickly activate it and deactivate it to not give away your position whenever you are running around murdering people in the dark. You can put C4 on vehicles and then crash them into bad guys and blow them up. You should do that. It is fun. Okay, go.
Oh yeah, now you can just dead it. Yeah, this is great. Did we get him?
Remember, my biggest debuff is that I'm a boomer, so I don't have great aim. This means I need to kill people faster, and I need to rely on maneuver to get into a position where I'm going to have the jump on them. I find myself trending towards battle rifles and sniper rifles a lot because I can kill people quickly as long as I have well-placed shots to the head. And I've also found myself running red dots on battle rifles and even snipers from time to time because it's just such a potent, powerful round. And if I position myself correctly and I get the drop on somebody, that red dot can do a lot of damage. I'd encourage you guys to look at builds that give you a red dot, reduce recoil, increase your rate of fire, and increase velocity so that you can benefit from the same kind of build. You don't see a lot of people building fortifications in this game, but I do think that it can be extremely valuable, particularly in sniper positions on top of buildings and around spawn locations. So if you do put that beacon down and you find that it's inside of a contested area, surround it with HESCOs or barriers and protect people that are spawning there. Just make sure they have a way out. You guys know my friend G-Man. He says some pretty ridiculous things in BattleBit, and it's hilarious, but I have the benefit of not having to hear it over Discord whenever he does that because he's a genius, and whenever he transmits over local VoIP in BattleBit, he's also muting himself in Discord. So go into your Discord settings and set your proximity voice chat button in BattleBit to also simultaneously mute you in Discord so your buddies don't have to listen to you yell obscenities and LARP against the enemy team. Don't forget to combine your magazines. If you've been in a bunch of gunfights and you're reloading frequently, you'll find that you have a bunch of partial magazines in your inventory. The default key is P. If you hold that down, it'll allow you to combine your magazines so you have some freshies in your bandolier, but it's also an option to rebind that key to get it a little bit closer to your WASD so you don't have to take your hand off the mouse entirely just to repack your mags. You should be using grappling hook. It can get you in some pretty sneaky spots, give your team a huge advantage over the enemy, but don't forget that the enemy can also climb up behind you on those grappling hooks. So if you approach a tethered grappling hook that is against a wall, you can hold down caps lock by default and cut it so that no one can follow you up. Revive your friends. Just do it. Saves tickets, makes you win. You should be reviving your friends. BattleBit has a massive open world destructive environment. Make sure you use that to your advantage. I always carry C4 or often carry C4, and it gives me the ability to open up breaches in buildings and approach the enemy from the rear. It gives me access to objectives that otherwise would have been denied because of the defenses that are in position. So keep in mind that the battlefield is three-dimensional, and if you don't like the door, you can make your own. Study the maps, guys. There's a lot of areas in this game where you can briefly dip your toes into enemy territory and then arrive on their flank. There's also a lot of locations where you can drop down that spawn beacon and give your team a crazy advantage because the enemy will have no chance of discovering it. So look at the map, understand where the pressure is coming against your team and where your squad can go to be of the most value to earning the W. And finally, don't forget to customize your character. You should make it look as Gucci as possible in these hilarious low poly graphics, and you should also be equipping body armor as appropriate. A lot of the body armor has different statistics. You can speed yourself up by removing some body armor. You can slow yourself down and increase your time to kill by putting on heavier armor. And the armor options vary by class. So make sure that you are taking a look at your helmet, your plate carrier, your backpack, and your pistol belt all provide little buffs and debuffs based off of your choices. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I'm enjoying BattleBit quite a bit, and if you guys are enjoying it as well, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below any of the tips that I might have missed or any ones that you had not considered that you found particularly valuable. I hope you enjoyed. I'm Controlled Pairs. This has been BattleBit, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
From our rear in the street?
1 second, I'm reloading. Dude, the frag, bro. I threw the frag on the way up, and then you ran back for it. What were you thinking? Are you okay?
Bro, I didn't know you threw it down here, bro. What the hell's wrong with you?
Dude, I bet you were so startled.
There's another one.
Pick it up. Pick me up, man. Pick me up.
I got you. 1 second. I got you.
Throw me out the roof. Throw me out the roof.
That's the plan. Oh, I got sniped, bro. I got sniped.
There's a guy right there.
They're waiting for your ass.
I fucking love this game. It's so funny.
Oh, I got picked up.
There's 2 of them now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you're
squad's
loud,
here.
you know.
The tables have turned.
You're mine now. You're mine.
Oh, the
We have a hostage.
Georgia!
We have a hostage.
He can't, man. Look, he can't.
Don't shoot. We have a hostage.